Alright, hey guys, this is going to be a general gameplay video on how to do Atziri with the Righteous Fire Incinerate character. This is what this character was made for. This is what we were looking for if you want to get, those big amounts of currency. This is how you do it. This is the cheapest and I would say for the price, the most efficient build that you can find when it comes to Atziri farming. Right now I'm gonna use my gear. It's not necessarily the best, but it is a Doriani's and a 6-link. Doriani's greatly helps with the Righteous Fire and of course the Incinerate. So that's what we're gonna do. If you want to see more budget runs, I have videos on the guide where I do it with a Life Sprig, I do it with a 4-link chest, and it's not a Cloak of Defiance. So if you really have no currency, this is the build for you. But this is gonna be like a semi-speed run with an explanation. So I'm kind of gonna take my time with this and try and explain as much as possible. Make sure you turn on your auras. Very crucial. I know it's stupid, but you might forget. The auras that we're gonna use are going to be Purity of Lightning, Clarity, and then Purity of Fire. For the first part and for the trash mobs, you want to use 2 topaz flasks, a ruby, and then these are whatever. You really should be using a hollow right now. I should have replaced this, but I just don't have a seeding hollow of Sunching, so I'm using this for now. But let's get into it. Every time you go into an instance, of course, you want to cast Righteous Fire and you want to cast Arctic Armor. I typically just jump through these mobs, but for the sake of the guide, I'm going to explain it a little bit more, because if you're scared of doing this, and you should be, yeah, this should give you some information on how to deal with the trash mobs, right? You don't generally want to kill all of them. However, it is safer, right? Because the ranged mobs really shouldn't hurt you. They really should deal no damage to you as long as you're using your pots, you're being smart about it. They shouldn't hurt you. However, these guys, if you desync and get stuck in between them, a couple hits from these can instantly kill you. So you want to avoid them at all costs. Again, make sure you have your Purity of Lightning running. That really helps with the shocks. Make sure you have some pots to run in between instances. And yeah, right now we're getting to the first boss. The layout is always the same. It's always you start, you go right for the first boss, then you go left for the second boss, and then you go right for the third boss, which is Atziri. You always want to make sure and put up a portal at the entrance in case you have to log out. You don't have to rush through the run through the trash and put your character at risk. There's just no point. Alright, we go into the instance. Nothing happens immediately. You have to trigger it like in the regular Vol fight. We're gonna start with the bottom Vol, because we want to be able to see the first one, and we don't want to start this one. This one is going to start by itself in just a second. But yeah, it triggered now. But you want to nuke one of them and then nuke the other one. And if you don't do enough damage, I'm gonna show. I'm just gonna show you like worst case scenario with a budget build, kind of a deal. And then you should look at a speedrun video if you want to see this done properly with proper gear. Typically, I would almost kill that one and then just kill both of them now when they both pop up. Like you see, they both pop up. I would have just killed both of them. But just for the guide's sake, I'm gonna run around in circles, which is what I do best, right? This is what you do with Atziri. It's not a speedrun. You don't have to be. You don't have to kill them as fast as possible. If you feel you're in a sketchy situation, log out, run around, just make sure you play it safe and don't die. Because really, if you make no mistakes here, you shouldn't die. As you can see, I'm barely taking any damage. It really is not a big deal. Alright. You want to kill them both at once so you don't get slammed, or you want to kill them in a stage where both of them are can't slam you. For instance, now, see, he was using the bolt lightning or the laser, or they're making ads. You want to attack them at that point. If they are not doing that, you don't want to attack them if one of them is dead, because the second one will slam you and he will instant kill you. Maybe you can survive it if you have a ruby flask up, because then you only take 50% of the damage, but I haven't tried it, and I probably won't, because it's just not worth it. Just make sure you avoid that, and just take your time. There really is no reason to rush. You've got 6 portals. Not a big deal if you have to step out of the instance and come back if you run out of portals, or if you run out of pots. So just be really careful about this, okay? And if you want to see me do this instantly, where I kill both of them, just make sure you check out the speedrun video. Like I said, typically I just drop this one down really low, then I drop this one down really low, and they both, both of them come up at the same time, and I just kill both of them instantly. So that's the way you should do it when you've got enough stuff for this. We got pretty unlucky here because we can't see what's up there, and then we've got a cannot die totem. This happens every now and then. You just have to be smart about it, and yeah, make sure you take your time in scenarios like these. I wouldn't recommend rushing through this. It's really not worth it to lose your character over a couple seconds. As you can see, like substantial fizz, like stuff like that will kill you. It will kill any character unless you have heavy amounts of physical mitigation. But then you might, have problems with the other the other factors, which is the shock and all that. Alright. Like I said, we just want to get through this. We want to be smart about it. We don't want to die. And as I told you, it is right, left, right. Remember that. If you're trying to do speed runs, it is very important. I often forget, but luckily this time around I remember. Just speeds up your run tremendously and makes it a lot safer if you don't have to backtrack. We switch out our pots, and this is why I backtracked a little bit to get the charges on the pots. The reason why we switch out our pots is because on this fight we don't have any lightning damage. None of these mobs deal lightning damage on the second fight. So you really want to be using a Quicksilver of Warding. It is a Quicksilver just because if you need to split up the mobs, this will really help you. Sure, Lightning Warp is great, but sometimes the Quicksilver is really what works better if the mobs, for instance, desync in between like ads and stuff like that. The second flask is a Granite. This really helps us face tank. There's a lot of physical damage in this fight. Some people use a permanent Immortal Coal setup. I don't do that. I use a cast when damage taken setup, and this should pretty much guarantee that you will never die to the physical along with the Granite. If you're like sitting in rain or something, it will provide huge amounts of mitigation with Arctic Armor, and then your cast when damage taken setup triggers. You're pretty much safe. You always want to use a Ruby. If you pop your Ruby, it puts you over 100% fire resistance, so all the regeneration that you've got in your skill tree, in my case, this results in 779 life regeneration. Just starts regenerating your life because you are no longer degenning any health with Righteous Fire. So, oh yeah, and another crucial thing, you wanna stop using the Purity of Lightning. Like I said, there's no lightning damage in here, and this just gives us a lot more mana, and mana in our case, if we're using a Cloak of Defiance, is survivability. So make sure you remember this, because again, I often forget. It doesn't really make the fight much more sketchier, but obviously if you make a really bad mistake, this is what's gonna keep you alive. Alright, so we're in the room. They're not gonna instantly attack us the same way the first and the third fight are. We've got 3 targets. One of them, the titty bitch, she's in the middle. She does a lot of physical damage. She does the rain of spiky physical things on you. It can be scary, but we take her out first so that she really is not a factor. This is the razor arm person guy. He basically does a dual strike attack with half of it being physical and half of it being fire when he enrages. It is not a permanent enrage, it only lasts a little bit, and it lasts longer if he is the last one that you want to kill. In our case, he is the last one that we want to kill because we completely mitigate all the damage that he does. He will not do any damage to you, and he is not a factor in any of the stages. So make sure you kill the titty bitch, and then we go to our second target, which is the Cycloner. So this is the Cycloner. I can't go too close because he's gonna trigger. This is our second target. We take him out second because it's just a lot easier for us if we kill this guy for before the Cycloner. It's not really a big deal, but the Cycloner you have to avoid, and he can do a lot of damage if you just mess up. You're probably gonna have to use, staunchings. He just gets really fast. He does a lot of damage. You have to deal with, a lot of ads at this point. So you really want to get rid of him as fast as possible. But at the same time, you have to avoid everything that he's doing. So make sure you avoid that. If for any reason you kill any of the bosses in the wrong order, it's 4 chaos, guys, or however much the set costs for you on the league that you're doing. It's not a big deal, alright? It's just not a big deal. Just get out, Just get out, and if you feel like you don't have the experience, remake the instance, kill the first boss, and then just do this all over again. But yeah, let's get into the fight. Like with all the Atziri fights, you don't have to, this is not a speed race. Again, you can just run around in circles, you're going to be completely fine. As you can see, the only thing that can hurt us at this point is either the ground or the titty bitch attacks. But her attacks, all of them, are delayed, so you should be able to avoid them. Granted, you have enough movement speed, which you should be if you're doing an Atziri run. And yeah, we're going to cursor, get into the fight. OS, that was a mistake. Jump on her. Make sure you stay out of the ground and just separate them. I kind of for the purpose of the guide, I run around in circles. Typically, you don't want to do that. You just want to jump on her and kill her as fast as possible. Make sure you don't stay in the rain, even if you feel like you can tank it. Just make sure you don't stay in there. Alright, at this point, she's dead. Our second target is the Cycloner, so you want to separate these mobs. If you feel like you don't have enough potions, she will constantly spawn ads. So take advantage of that, and you can just kill the ads for pots. Very, very helpful. We separate them, focus on this guy, just kill it. Right? I even stood in everything that they can do to us. At this point, this is the only guy that's left. Doesn't do any damage to us. We're completely safe at this point. We've won. Success. Unless one of the Cycloner guys attacks you and casts vulnerability on you. But for this fight, we have the Quicksilver of Warding that provides us with like almost 8 seconds of immunity to curses. So you can just take your time, kill the ads, and regain your pots. But as you saw, he deals no damage to us, so even with a vulnerability, I wouldn't expect him to do anything. Alright, we get out of here. We assess the situation in the next room, which is also pretty bad. So we're just gonna kill these mobs because we don't know where the cannot die totem is. I actually typically switch to my pots at this point if I can tell that the situation is pretty safe. These are the pots that you're gonna want to be using for Atziri. They're also mentioned in the guide, so you can see which exactly kind of pots you need. It's basically 2 topazes and 2 rubies. But all of them need to be adrenaline just in case. You don't really need any other mods. It's just adrenaline. It helps you with the the movement speed. Obviously helps you if you have to avoid some sort of danger that you encounter in the Atziri fight. Like you see, you know, this is my bad. This is on me. I should have known to go left. But yeah, like I said, I forget every now and then. You don't want to forget. Don't be like me. Do it smart. Alright. We regained our pots at this point. We go up the stairs. This is always the layout, so don't get scared. I should have popped my Purity of Lightning, but as you saw, it wasn't such a big deal. But it is definitely a big deal if you don't use it for Atziri. Just make sure you remember that. You want to use your portal just in case, again, if you have to leave. Your pots have to be prepared. We don't need any life regen flasks, because we're basically gonna have regening everything, and yeah, it's almost 100% mitigation on the lightning, and it's 100% mitigation on the fire, so the fire shouldn't deal any damage to you. Even if you get hit by a flame blast, it should do like a little bit of damage to you, but it's never gonna kill you, right? Without the ruby. The double flame blast might be a problem. I avoid it. I feel that I've done some testing and it was never able to kill me. However, do avoid it because it just, for me, it keeps me focused on the fight and it doesn't get me cocky to the point where I start taking risks. Because this is my problem. For instance, I get too cocky with fights. I try and end them quick, and I make mistakes, and those mistakes can cost your character. So that's why I always stress, just don't do it too fast. Take your time. It's gonna be okay. Alright. We go into the fight. This is Atziri's room. She doesn't trigger, as always. Another crucial thing, she has Curse Reflect. If you have enough damage, you can just completely take out your curse. It's not a big deal. If you don't have enough damage, you can somehow you can somehow get a setup where you have trap and elemental weakness, probably by taking out your empower and recoloring your weapon or whatever you're using this setup on. Get trap and elemental weakness, and then you can throw the trap and the curse reflects onto the trap instead of reflecting onto you, which is huge because obviously you deal a lot more damage and you don't get the curse on yourself. If you curse yourself, you will die unless you pop your... No, you will die. You have to pop both your flasks. I don't know how long your curse lasts, but you have to pop both your flasks. Alright, like with any fight, take your time. As you can see, just avoid stuff. Be careful, of course, but she has a couple basic attacks. One of them, the Storm Calls. This is the risk. This is where you want to have your topazes up. It's a big deal. The Puncture can stun you at times, but it's not going to be a big deal. Like, I can get hit here. Oh, there we go. I took a Flame Blast. It wasn't a big deal. As you can see, I'm not taking huge amounts of damage. I can just avoid all of it. And yeah, like I said, take your time. Always take your time. This is not really such a big factor on this fight because, as you can see, we can kill her quite efficiently. But yeah, all right. Let's go into the kill now. Basically, want to jump on her. Make sure you have flasks. She's probably gonna make adds before you can deal enough damage to her. Make sure you position yourself well for the adds. You can just stand there and do this. If you feel you don't do enough damage to kill the adds, you can stand in front and just keep doing this, and then as they come closer, the Righteous Fire will burn them down. So that's also a way to make it safe for you if you feel you don't do enough damage. But you basically want to phase tank her, right? Just stand on her. She's gonna go into split phase. Alright, the split phase works the same. You don't have to get hit by anything. But it is a lot more tricky. So what you want to do with this build is just phase tank. So I'm not going to show it here immediately, but it doesn't matter which target you choose. Even on the reflect one, it's not a factor. Like, I'm going to attack the reflect one because of Arctic Armor. It doesn't do enough damage to us, so we just melt it. Right? You want to be attacking her as always. She's gonna go into ads. Sometimes she only does this once, sometimes she does it twice. It's kind of random. You know, even now you can like position yourself where the ads won't make it into her. If they touch her for some reason, you don't do enough damage, she will get healed, and that's a problem. So again, you just want a face tank, right? That was a general explanation for some builds, but you want a face tank. If she does this, you want to avoid it. If she does the double flame blast, you want to get out of there. Like I said, just in case. It's not really a big deal, but just in case. Again, we position ourselves. It doesn't matter which target. Pop both of your flasks. Boom, boom. DPS it down. We're at no risk here. 0. Again, get into the fight. She's gonna go into split again. She's maybe gonna do one more ad phase. We'll see. Attack the mirror once. 100% reflect. Doesn't affect us. It all gets mitigated through Arctic Armor. And yeah, she goes into ads. At this point, she does 3 split phases. So at this point, basically, she's dead. It's really not a big deal if she goes into ad. Even if she heals, we can just face tank all of it. And the ad phase obviously gives us all the pots that we could possibly need, and it just makes it very simple. Very, very simple stuff. Most of the explanations don't apply to this build, but you know, you want to learn, so I give you the knowledge, and you kill her. That's about it. There's a couple drops that you want. Didn't get a hope. Maybe I got a lightning belt. There we go, a lightning belt. I just made 6 exalt. As simple as that. Again, I can't stress this enough. It's not a DPS race, guys. Take your time. Be very careful. Make sure you have the knowledge. Study this video with any build. I feel like I've provided enough explanation that you should be able to do Atziri with any build. It's not a DPS race. It just requires some practice to avoid all the stuff. But as you saw, the practice basically is dumbed down to running around in circles and not panicking. But yeah, that's about it from me. If you're interested in more speedy runs and how you can really farm the currency on this character, make sure you check out the other videos with the speed runs. And if you're interested in heavy budget builds, also look at the other videos. If you've got any questions, check out the stream right on the topic. Maybe even ask me on the YouTube. Who knows? I'm probably gonna respond. But yeah, thank you very much for checking out the video, and hope to see you guys around. Bye bye!